Hello ArcheryTalk, this is Lucas, and today I'm here to offer my final long-term review of the Rocky Mountain 5-pin direct mount sight. A little while ago, I called Feradyne, the owners of Rocky Mountain, to see if they could send me kind of an affordable sight. We tend to get products in for review that are flagship level products, which are great, but they come with flagship level prices and not everybody can or wants to pay that. And so I asked for an affordable site to come in. I wanted to see what that would be like and see if we could find one that would be good that I could happily recommend to hunters. And so they sent over this Rocky Mountain site, which retails for $65. That's the last price I saw on Lancaster Archery, which is, again, not what you'd call a super low budget site. You can get a site for $20 if you want to, but $65 is pretty good when you consider the build quality that I've seen so far out of this site. I have mounted this site onto a $1,500 Hoyt Carbon RX-1 bow, and it is not out of place in the least. It fits right in. I've shot this bow thousands of times with this sight on it. I have not had any excess vibration. I've not had anything come loose on this sight, which has all been a huge bonus for me. My big issue I have with buying things that are kind of cheap and low budget is that you end up paying for it in the end anyway. The whole buy once, cry once edict. So spend your money up front and then, it stinks, but at least you don't have to worry about your products breaking down. So when I got this site, I was a little bit worried it wasn't going to live up to expectations on that regard, but it really has. It's been rock solid. I cannot find any major or any really minor faults with the build quality at all on this site. It has held up exactly how I'd want. Now I haven't really taken it into the woods to bash it around or anything like that. But for all the shooting I've done with this thing, it has done exactly what I would want it to do. Adjustability on the site is also pretty good. They've got a vertical gang adjustment here. You just turn a little lever to unlock it, and then you can rotate it up and down there. And then there's a horizontal one over here as well. Same thing. Unlock that without any tools whatsoever, and then you can rotate it here to set your windage. And that's really it. It's got 5 pins in this site. And then they were all adjustable right here, and the adjustments for those is actually pretty smooth. I've used a handful of kind of cheap sites in the past, and I had a very difficult time getting those individual pins lined up properly. Like when I would crank it down to tighten it up, and then the pins would rotate, and all sorts of weird things would happen. This has not been the case on this site, so I have no issues with that at all, which was a nice bonus as well. About the only thing I'd like to see as far as adjusting the site goes would be an arrow here on where the vertical adjustment is, where the vertical gang adjustment is. If they had some sort of an arrow on the sight block itself, which you can match up to one of the lines that's coming down on the side there, I think that'd just be great for those of us who are playing around at the range a little bit and want to play with other yardages. Maybe they have their pin set up at like shorter yardages, and they want to play around at 80, 90, 100 yards one day, so they can just crank this thing down, drop the sight down, and be able to move it back up when they need to go out hunting again without worrying about being off. That's the only minor thing I would put on there. I would think that'd be a pretty affordable fix. You could probably even jerry-rig something yourself to do that, quite frankly. But that's really my only real issue with this site. Another huge bonus on this site is it's got third axis adjustability, which is really unheard of in this price range. Adjusting the third axis is a little weird on this bow. You do it actually all with the bubble level. There's a little screw here, and you loosen that, and you can rotate the level side to side a little bit, and that'll help get your third axis set. It is a little bit touchy, so when you turn down the bolt to tighten it back down again, the level tends to move a little bit left and right. So you really have to be careful to hold that down with one hand while you crank it down, so you can get it set just right. And then you can just throw that onto a aftermarket third axis level. I use a bright sight third axis level, which works really great for all my bows. Hamsky makes another one, or you can test it yourself. The reason I like to have a third axis adjustable sight is if if you're a tree stand hunter, if you're up high, if your third axis isn't right, your point of impact is going to be way off. So for me, it's almost essential. If you strictly hunt flat land, you're turkey hunter out of a ground blind, something like that, it probably isn't going to be a real big issue for you. But if you do hunt out of tree stands, or you hunt where you might be shooting down a slope or up a hill or anything like that, then third axis adjustability for me is necessary, and it usually costs a lot of money to get something like that on a hunting site. You're unlikely to find a site with third axis adjustability for less than $100, let alone $65. So that makes this thing have some pretty good value. Another feature on the site which I've been happy with are the pins. They're actually quite bright. The club I shoot out of currently has pretty poor lighting, so it's hard to see your pins. Fortunately, Peel Archery Club is going to be getting new lighting soon. Happy to hear that. But the pins on this site are all pretty bright. I've got 5 pins on this site. It goes green, red, green, and they show up great in every light condition I've shot it in this year. So I have no complaints about that whatsoever. Bottom line, I would have no trouble recommending this site to just about anybody, even if you're normally somebody who spends a lot more on a site than $65. I've had this on this bow. I would have no trouble putting it on any hunting bow at all. It is. I've been super impressed with it. Again, outside of some finickiness adjusting the third axis and maybe having a little mark there on the vertical adjustment, that's the smallest of complaints really about the site that I've got. And at this price point, it's hardly worth mentioning. So if you want to learn more, head over to Feradyne.com and look up all the Rocky Mountain sites and products. They've got a 5-pin dovetail mount sight, and they've got a single pin dovetail mount sight if you want to change yardages on the fly. Just different options for different people. So thanks so much for watching Archery Talk, and we will see you soon.